Hey Men Warriors, it's Kate and welcome back to my channel where I share a weekly video with you every Monday to talk all things menopause. My aim is to instill belief in you that you can manage and survive and thrive through the menopause rather than it being this period of fearful, tumultuous hormonal imbalance. There are a few strategies that I'm going to share at the end of this to help you manage your menopause symptoms. Today I'm talking about anxiety. You might actually find that you have got anxiety that started to creep up on you. You may never have had anxiety in the past. This is what happened to me too. Or you might find it's hit you like a railroad truck and it just gets you out of the blue. It's crushing, it's leading to panic attacks, and it's having a negative impact on your life. It's important to remember that we all actually struggle, or we all feel anxiety. Anxiety is there to keep us safe. The thing that you do need to make sure or be aware of is when it's starting to have a negative impact on your life and it's holding you back from doing the things you used to do. I'm a psychotherapist, I'm an anxiety specialist as well. I talk to a lot of ladies around sort of midlife phase, midlife phase, where they are no longer confident to drive their car. They're stopping driving on the motorway. They're stopping collecting their grandchildren from school. It's this thing that suddenly appeared in their life, and it's having a crushing effect. And of course, once it starts to have a negative impact on one aspect of your life, it knocks your confidence in your abilities, but it also can have the habit of sort of seeping into other areas of your life. So it's really important that you are aware of whether you're struggling with anxiety and taking positive steps to help you overcome anxiety. Anxiety is 100% treatable. It's not one of those things you have to suffer with for the rest of your life. But there is a chance that during perimenopause, when our hormones are fluctuating so much, and I will explain why that happens in a little while, why, that during the perimenopause and menopause beyond, you can actually have increased levels of anxiety. So one, of course, is due to the changing levels of our hormones. Another reason that you might be getting more anxious at this stage of life is just timing. The dynamics of your relationship might be changing. You might be having to get used to being an empty nester. You might have older children that are coming back to the home. You might be looking after your parents. You might be dealing with your own health challenges. There are so many different aspects that affect us at this stage of life. I talk to a lot of ladies also who are really thinking, God, is this it? I've still not achieved what I need to achieve. I'm still not financially independent. I still don't have that security, and I'm midlife. How the heck am I going to do it now? We live in a society that values youth still, and that can have a really negative impact on how you see yourself, how you position yourself within the sort of social structure. I don't agree with it, but it exists without a shadow of a doubt. And when you're at that sort of middle age stage of life and you still have not reached the goals that you wanted to reach, it can be very frightening. And it's really important that you know that it's never too late to start. It's never too late to make changes in any aspect of your life, whether that's your health, your wellness. I talk about health, I mean health, mental health and physical health. Your career, you can change your career. There are so many different opportunities. We live now in a world where it's so easy to run your own business. There are multiple things that you can do, and you'll have skill sets that you're probably not even aware of that you've got, because they form part of you. But when you talk to, you might talk to a business coach, you might talk to a career coach, you might just have a chat with your best friend and say, look, if I was going to choose a job, change my career, what would you suggest I did? Talk to me. I help people with their careers, obviously in the health and wellness world, but you don't need to be you don't need any specific skill set in order to have a really great career that allows you freedom and financial security. So just know that it is never ever too late to start to create the life that you want. You deserve to have the life that you want, and it's about taking small consistent steps in the right direction. I can help you take those steps in that direction if you wanted to explore that more. So really sort of going back to anxiety itself, it is something that we all feel. And it can creep up on you very slowly, or it can hit you very hard. For me personally, it used to come in at about sort of the early hours of the sort of early hours of the morning, and I could just feel this fizzing in my chest. It can lead to that fizzing sensation. It can give you palpitations. It can, in its extreme form, it can lead to panic attacks, which are extremely frightening because you probably think you're having a heart attack. It can give you headaches. It can just make you more irritable. It can make you feel absolutely exhausted the next day because you're living under this heavy blanket of anxiety. And it's amazing what we get used to living with as well. You start to tolerate it, and then it becomes part of your everyday life. And actually, it's something that doesn't have to be part of your everyday life. With a few simple steps, you can do things to help alleviate the anxiety. But it's not about getting rid of stress, because stress is always going to be there. It's about managing it more effectively. You might find also that you are getting more hot flushes through the night, and that's disrupting your sleep. And when our sleep's disrupted, of course, we all know how crabby we can be when we're tired the next day, and when that's consistent. So, you've got these daytime concerns going on, all these things that I've already mentioned. You're not sleeping well. You're wondering how the heck you even got to this point in your life, and you're wondering, who are you anymore? And every day, cumulatively, that can have a really big impact on how you see yourself, but also just the energy that you have, the energy that you put out, the energy that you feel you have available, because you're living under this cloud of anxiety and unknowns and what ifs and fears and bad sleep and hot flushes and things that are happening to your body that have never happened before, joint pains, maybe skin outbreaks, dry skin, loss of hair, too much hair, all sorts of different things that can go on. And it happens all at the same time. All of that is due to our changing hormones. So really, what does cause anxiety? It's a two-pronged thing when we talk about hormones. As our estrogen levels, progesterone levels, and testosterone levels, sort of our main sex hormones, fall or become erratic. They're very erratic through perimenopause. That's why perimenopause, it can creep up slowly. You might still be having regular periods, but starting to feel some of these symptoms, that is highly likely to be perimenopause. Even if your GP has said no, it's not. If you are getting several of these symptoms, it's highly likely that it is. It's something they can't really test for either, because the hormones are so erratic. You might measure one level of the hormones one day, and then the same day at the same time, the hormones could be entirely different. So just bear that in mind as well. But essentially, as our sex hormones decline, it has a negative impact on how we cope with stressors. And it can make us more irritable. It can make us have those mood swings. It can make us have those volcanic eruptions, both heat wise and anger wise. And you might think, why did I ever react like that? And it is down to your hormones. It's not your fault. It's the hormones running havoc inside of you. The other thing to bear in mind is that as our estrogen levels fall, all of our sex hormones fall, estrogen tends to have a dampening effect on our stress hormones. So when we've got plenty of estrogen, our cortisol and adrenaline, two of our stress hormones, are sort of buffered. But as estrogen falls, it allows the cortisol and adrenaline to run riot more often. So that is why, so you've got like this double whammy effect. You've got your falling hormones, which are helping to keep you calm and manage anxiety better, but they're also, because they're falling, it's also meaning that you've got relatively more stress hormones, which are then just putting fire to the flame or fire to the fuel. So just be aware of that. It's pretty complicated. The hormonal system is pretty complicated. I think that's why so many people avoid it. I understand why, but it is, that is largely why you get these feelings of anxiety and why they can be so ad hoc. They might just creep up, and then other times it hits you. If you are feeling anxious or depressed or low mood for over a 2-week period and beyond, I would go and talk to a professional about that. Whether you talk to a therapist, whether you talk to an anxiety specialist, whether you talk to your GP in the first instance, and see how they can help you and refer you, or maybe even talk to a specialist menopause coach. It'll just give you it'll give you the support that you need. Also important to understand that some underlying disorders might be mimicking some menopause related symptoms. So if you have thyroid issues, that's why it's always important to go to your doctor. It could be thyroid rather than menopause. So it's worth getting these sorts of things checked out, because you want to make sure that you know what the root cause is so that you can deal with it effectively. And also, some people are more prone to anxiety. If you've had bad PMS, if you've struggled with postnatal depression, you may have a greater sensitivity to anxiety disorders through menopause and through perimenopause and menopause. So just be aware of that. There is no sort of one size fits all approach to dealing with this. It's a very individualized thing that you need. It is an individualized thing because we all react differently. Our hormones are all different. Our environments are all different. Our sense of self is different. Our survival strategies or strengths are different. So just be aware of the fact that if if your friend, your best mate's managing fine and you're really struggling, go and get help. It doesn't mean anything. There's no comparison game here. The most important thing is that you are taking steps that help to put you back in the driving seat. And when you feel like you're getting back in the driving seat, it has an incredibly impactful what's the word, effect on how you feel about your anxiety. That's what I'm sort of going to talk about now, is things that you can do. And you're probably going to roll your eyes because it's going to be exercise is one of the main things that you can do as well. I know I talk about it all the time. If you're one of those people who says, I cannot exercise, I wake up, I'm just dead, I'm fatigued, I'm exhausted, I walk up the 2 stairs and it feels like my thighs are about to pop out of my legs, just start to walk, just start to move regularly, allow yourself, commit, put a diary together, commit to 5 minutes or 10 minutes of walking every day, and then just make that a little bit faster when you feel that you can, and then make it a bit longer when you feel that you can. And when you've got your sort of energy levels up a little bit, then make sure, then incorporate other sort of no impact type of workouts. The program that I'm currently following, it's completely no impact. It's lovely. It's strength training. It strengthens your core. It gives you nice lean muscle tone. It's pelvic floor friendly as well. In fact, it's pelvic floor strengthening. But because it's no impact, and because you just lift the weights, or indeed no weights if you still can't lift weights, it helps you get back into the driving seat. And when we exercise, it's not just about the lean muscle tone. Of course, that's going to help you feel more confident. It's going to help you with your balance and your flexibility, but it's also going to strengthen your bones. As we go through menopause, our bones get weaker, our muscles get weaker. So as well as having, falling confidence within ourselves, when you're taking regular exercise, it does something amazing for your self-esteem, but it also gives your body endorphins. It gives you that feel-good factor, and it also helps you to sleep better. So it is important that you commit to doing some kind of movement. I'm a great believer in finding what works best for you. Sometimes you'll say, oh, practice relaxation techniques, do mindfulness, meditation or yoga. For me personally, it just does not work. I know the benefits of it, and if I can ever sit long enough to do some mindfulness, yes, I do feel relaxed afterwards. But for me, I'm one of those people that I have to be active. Taking action is the best treatment for me for stress. Even if it's not necessarily the right action, taking any kind of action helps me to overcome that feeling of helplessness. So you have to find what works for you. If you can work well with yoga, if you can work well with meditation, brilliant. But again, it's avoiding that comparisonitis. You have to find the method that works best for you. Understand how you work. We're all different, and it just because you can't meditate doesn't mean to say there's something wrong with you. It's the fact, you're probably more of an action oriented person. I am. I really struggle with meditation. The most I do manage to do, and most mornings and evenings I commit to this, is listening to my affirmations. They're very similar to affirmations. I think they're more effective because you ask yourself why, rather than using the I am statement. And when you ask yourself why, your brain's thinking, oh, why am I? And it helps you find the solution to how you want to be. So why am I so lucky? Why does abundance find me everywhere I go? Why am I successful in my business? And if you're not successful, it helps you realize you're understanding, because you're asking why. Oh, it's because I don't show up enough. It's because I'm treated like a hobby. It's because I'm not putting the effort in. It's because I'm not treating it like a, you know, the with the potential that it could have. And you kind of call yourself out. I find that very effective. If you want just let me know, message me if you want my affirmations guide. I'll just send you the link and you can have it. I find it really, really helpful. So I hope that has been helpful. Remember that if anything you take from this today, anxiety is 100% treatable. I know I am an anxiety specialist. Deep breathing is a brilliant way of helping with anxiety. Intentional movement is a great way of dealing with anxiety. Taking action, create a list. What do you need to achieve? What do you need to get done? Work through those lists. There's a great book called Eat That Frog if you struggle with procrastination by Brian Tracy. I would recommend reading that. If you struggle with getting the right things done on a consistent basis for business and for your health, read the 12-week year. Brilliant book. Off the top of my head, I can't remember who that's by. Brian Moran, I think, is the 12-week year. And Atomic Habits is another great book, and I cannot remember who wrote that one. It's fantastic. That will help you. Those 3 books will help you overcome procrastination, overcome that, oh, I don't know how to start or where to start, and it would just help to put you back in the driver's seat. So thank you for your company. I really appreciate the time you've taken to listen to this today. Make sure if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done already so you don't miss future episodes. I'd love a thumbs up if you didn't mind. And if you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, if you want any of my free resources, head to the link in my bio on my Instagram. Go to the folder that says free resources. There's a load of stuff there that will help you, including breathing guides, etc., etc. So have some fun having a look through that. So again, thank you for your company, and I will talk to you soon.